Good evening and welcome to our second live stream here at Holy Trinity Rothwell. I'm Gina Marsland and I'm the head of school at Holy Trinity.
I'm Tracy Wheatley and I'm the Senko and reception class teacher at Holy Trinity.
Some of you may have watched our first live stream back in November now. We thought that we would feel a little bit less nervous tonight with it being our second time, but we're quickly realising that one live stream certainly does not make you an expert. We have another one coming up in January, so hopefully that will give us a chance to correct any mistakes from this live stream. We do talk to our young people on a daily basis about embracing challenges and learning from their mistakes, and that's certainly something that Mrs. Wheatley and myself are having to embrace tonight. If you did listen to our last live stream, you might notice that we've run this one a little bit different by adding just a little bit of sparkle. And I don't just mean from the Christmas tree or Mrs. Wheatley or myself's jumper, but we've got 3 fabulous volunteers from our Year 6 class who will be here comparing the evening tonight. I think it's fair to say that they're far more confident and enthusiastic about running this event than myself or Mrs. Wheatley are. And this is why we at Holy Trinity are in teaching. Because I'm sure 6 or 7 years ago, the parents of these young people and our staff, Mrs. Wheatley taught them, would not have expected them to be here tonight hosting a live stream. And I think this shows how important it is to us about empowering our children to realise their full potential, not just academically, but to seize every opportunity, and why that's such a key part of our vision. So how will tonight work? So we're going to be asked some questions by our compares, which have been posted recently on our website, or those that we didn't get a chance to answer in our last live stream. Please do remember, if you don't get your question answered tonight, or as fully as you would have wanted, and you don't want to wait till our next event in January, then please do phone our school office or email us, and one of us will get back to you. So, we're ready for your questions. Over to you, ladies.
Our first question is from Helen. She asks, you say you're a small school. How many classes do you have?
Yeah, so we're a one-form entry school, but we do have a joint Year 2, Year 3 class. And our numbers in our class range from around low 20s to high 20s. For me, what this means is that we really get to know all of our children and all of our school families. And we really are a school community, small school, big heart. How do you find it helps in reception, Mrs. Wheatley, with those?
I think exactly what you said. I think this year we've got 21 children in reception. We have had 30, and I don't think it really makes a difference around the numbers, because actually for us it's about how well we get to know the children and how well we get to know our families. So whether that's 30 or 21, we still feel that we really know them. It still makes us a small school, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that all right, ladies? Next question.
Our next question is from Sam. He asks, what clubs do you have?
Well, sadly at the moment, in the current circumstances, we're not able to run any clubs. And it's one of the things I think we're all missing, and we can't wait to be able to get back to that. Because we know the importance of offering a range of clubs and providing our young people with a range of opportunities so that they can develop themselves as individuals. I think our clubs vary, so sometimes we have external providers that come in and run the clubs, and I know they've come in and run fitness clubs and sports clubs and football clubs, haven't they? And also our staff here run clubs around things that interest them. So we have choir, we have art club, cross country, so we try to cater to that whole range of children's interests.
Our next question is from Zoe. How do you encourage those at the higher capability within the class?
Yeah. And I think for us, we've mentioned before that what's key for our approach here at Holy Trinity is that we really get to know our children well, and we get to know them as individuals. And that really allows us to personalise the learning to suit their particular needs. And all our staff at Holy Trinity know how important it is to really understand the children's starting points and knowing how to intervene and support them. And that might mean knowing when they need to be challenged, or it might knowing how they need to be challenged, because some of even our most able learners, whilst they're able, they might be nervous about trying a challenge. Others might need a little bit of encouragement to make sure that they move on. In maths, our approach, we use something called Mastery in Maths, and that's about not having a ceiling on the opportunities that we give our young people. And so that's about providing them an opportunity to explain their reasoning, to show their understanding in a whole range of different ways, and to explain what they can understand and know. And I think some of those skills about really being able to tell us why and the how are skills that are used across the curriculum and actually are really useful skills for lifelong learning. And I think also it's about helping our children to be reflective, and motivated so that they are enthusiastic, and we mentioned earlier that they're willing to take that risk. So we regularly talk to our children about it being safe to make a mistake. It's easier to talk to the children about it than to do it yourself, as we're finding tonight. And I think sometimes with our more able children, they're used to getting things right. So actually it can be those children that really need the support to realise that it's okay not to know the answer, and that developing the skills to help them to work out how to answer questions or what to do if they're faced with a challenge is a really, really important skill. And I think it's also about challenging our pupils, not just academically, but also to develop them, the whole child, and to give them a range of opportunities. So, for example, pupil voice, we have a range of leadership roles. We have school counsellors, eco-warriors, and also through our clubs, our out-of-school clubs and residentials, and even events like tonight, where I'm sure this was probably something you three have never done before. Certainly Mrs. Wheatley and myself haven't, other than once. Is there anything you wanted to add with regards to reception?
Yes, I mean, I think we in reception recognise that children come from different starting points. Their birth dates can affect where the children are when they start. So our baseline assessment is always key for us to make sure that we're planning an appropriate curriculum for the children from their starting point. So if, for example, a child comes in reading, then we wouldn't wait until we'd finished our baseline assessment to start them on the reading scheme. We'd get the child on the scheme straight away and skip books that we need to at the beginning and make sure that they're reading books that will challenge them from the very beginning. So just like the rest of the school, we do challenge our children sensitively and relevantly, really. But just thinking about capabilities, it's not just about academic capabilities, it's about the talents that our children have, and making sure that we recognise sporting, musical talents, gymnastics. We've had some amazing dancers, divers, we've had some fantastic, and I think it's about finding that talent in every child, isn't it, and promoting it. Some children may not always be a high flyer in an academic subject, but be absolutely amazing in another area, and it's important to find that for every child, their strengths.
Just reiterates, doesn't it, why it's really important to know our children as individuals, to get to that uniqueness and to find ways of supporting them. Yeah, definitely. Next question.
Caroline asks, what tools/approach do you have for discipline?
Discipline. I think first and foremost, we know our children as individuals. And whilst we have a behaviour policy that we all apply and it has clear expectations and we use consistently, we know that sometimes there might be reasonable adjustments that might be needed. It might simply be in the way that a particular award is delivered, because we know that a particular individual is a little bit shy. For us, it's also about positivity and praise, and it's about catching the good and providing reinforcement around those positive messages and creating that positive environment. And in all year groups, it's really important to communicate effectively with our school families and to share those positive moments and experiences, and to be open and honest with our families and work together. And I think we also know the importance of the opportunity for restorative practice. We all make mistakes, and we need to focus on supporting our children to make the right choices and to understand the importance of those choices. And I think for me as well, what's really, really important is that our children need to know that we care. Anything you wanted to add to that, Mrs. Wheatley?
Yeah, I think for some of our special needs children, following a behaviour policy can be quite challenging. They may have an underlying difficulty and a language difficulty. So I think for children who have social and emotional and mental health difficulties, the reasonable adjustments are absolutely crucial to allow the children to achieve. So in some cases we would have an individual behaviour plan for children to help them make those small steps and succeed and achieve their rewards, which might be quite different to the whole school policy. And I think our Christian ethos as well kind of comes through our behaviour policy and the way we manage behaviour in school. I think our PSHE curriculum is very, very grounded in the way that we work on how children can make improvements. We teach children self-regulation skills. We use something called the zones of regulation, which is a new approach for us that's having a lot of impact, particularly lower down the school, which teaches children to have a toolkit to be able to manage when they're struggling with their feelings and their emotions, and to be able to identify them. So I think that's all feeds into the behaviour policy and helps our children to be able to cope with a whole range of things, and I think that's particularly important in the current situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Sally asks, what sports do you practice at the school?
Well, again, in normal circumstances, we would cover a whole range of sports, from rugby, football, netball, tennis, cricket. In addition to gymnastics and dance, we focus on skills, we focus on drills, but we also know the importance of fitness. And in normal times, we would ordinarily do something as well called the Daily Mile. We have a dedicated team of staff, many of whom absolutely love their sport, and so are always willing to take children on out-of-school activities as well, to football tournaments and cross-country events. We also take our Year 3 and Year 4 children swimming at Rothwell Sports Centre. And in addition to our staff teaching PE, as you'll know, sometimes we have external coaches come in as well who run our PE sessions for us. So we try to give our children a whole range of opportunities to a whole range of different sports.
Another question we have is from Joanne. How are you working to improve following Ofsted guidance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think just to reassure you, we never rest on our laurels here, because first and foremost, the young people are at the heart of everything we do, and so we continually strive to improve, and that's what really motivates us. Part of our annual development plans, we would look at what areas we were going to improve and see what our focus would be for that particular year. And our talented staff and our team approach means that we all work towards that collective goal. Some of the things we've worked on recently following our Ofsted inspection was around our reading books and developing a greater range of our phonic books, which we've done now. In addition to that, we looked at our sequence of learning for our maths, and we recently had an internal trust review, if you like, and that area for development had been addressed. In terms of maths generally, we are developing our approach using Mastery for Maths, and two of our key staff are currently on a Mastery for Maths specialist course. In addition to that, being part of a trust, it means that we have access to specialists within the trust who can support all the schools in our trust around certain areas of development. So, for example, a previous role I had within the trust was as lead practitioner for maths, so maths is a little bit of a passion of mine. And we also know that sometimes with our maths that children can find it hard to remember sometimes, so we've developed different strategies to help them to remember more and to really focus upon that fluency.
Mark asks, what preparations have you put in for COVID?
Oh, goodness me. We'd probably be here till 8 o'clock if I was to talk to you all about the preparations that we put into place for COVID, continually and continue to put into place and continue to review. I think what it's fair to say is that the preparations we've put into place around COVID show the attention to detail that we have, how great a team we are, that we work together. And actually, that no matter how much work it took to put together risk assessment version 7, communication with parents version 9, on September, when we opened those gates to the whole school community again for the first time, for what felt like a very long time, all of that work over the summer and beforehand felt completely worth it. And if there's ever a time where you think, I've had another communication about something we need to think about now with regards to COVID, you just walk around the school and see the difference it makes to the children being in school and how the school feels now that we're fully operational, and that's what keeps you going.
Another question we have is from Holly. She asks, what kind of opportunities are available for children to develop an interest in musical instruments as they move up through the school?
Yeah, it's really important, and we know the importance that music and the arts have in children's development. Not only if it might be a talent that we know that they have and we want to nurture, but also it provides such an opportunity for them to express themselves, and it's really good for their mental well-being. So we have peripatetic lessons when we're able to operate them. Music is an important part of a curriculum, and whether that's through playing musical instruments, whether that's through singing, through developing those listening skills, or through even composing, we provide that full range. And we also sing regularly in ordinary times in collective worship, and come together once a week to sing as a whole school in our singing practice. And I think for me, it's that music and that singing around school that I've missed the most in September. So I think we really feel how important music and singing is to the school and is to us as a community when you're having to operate without it at the moment.
Our next question is from Katie. How often is religion discussed?
So we are a church school, but equally we are very diverse and inclusive. And we celebrate difference, and we work really hard to work with our young people so that they understand that it's acceptable to have a range of views and opinions. In our RE curriculum, we study world faiths and also Christianity using a scheme called Understanding Christianity. And for me, what's most amazing about that scheme is that it really requires children to think deeply and to really question, to discuss and to challenge. And all of these are really important life skills and transferable skills to other areas of the curriculum, that ability to debate and to listen and to question, not only the adults in the class but with their peers as well. And for me, what I found really empowering about that particular scheme is when I talk to our young people and they comment on how challenging it is now that they have to think about these things, and how enlightening it is almost that they're given the opportunity to question and to challenge. In terms of our Christian values and ethos, we have daily collective worships. We have Christian values that we set for the half term, and we use that to think about our behaviour and to reflect upon things. However, many of these values, such as how do we show friendship, are really important in all walks of life, and whether you're someone of faith or no faith at all. In addition to that, we love going down to the local church and to celebrate key events such as we would normally do around Christmas and Easter and our Leavers ceremony, and obviously our Harvest Festival as well, which has now since passed. So yeah, anything else you wanted to add about reception, or we've covered most of it?
No, I think you're right. I think it's not so much the talking about religion that we do a lot. It's about how we treat each other, isn't it, and how we respond to each other on a daily basis, which happens a lot in reception and throughout our school. So, yeah.
Our next question we were given is from Claire. She asks, what are the costs for the ARC?
So the ARC is our before and after school club, and on our first live stream we talked in more detail about the ARC, so if you can bear listening to Mrs Wheatley and myself for another half an hour, then have an opportunity to replay that back. But if you need any more answers, please let us know. Dealing specifically with that question, however, the morning club is £4 per session, and that runs from 8 o'clock in the morning until school starts, and our evening session is £10 per session, and that runs up until 6 o'clock in the evening.
Our next question is from Lindsay. She asks, if my child was to be on school dinners, what is the policy on allergies?
Mrs Wheatley, do you want to answer that one?
That's no problem. So we have a catering service who are able to liaise with parents directly if their child has any kind of food intolerance. We've already got children in school who are on gluten-free diets. We have children who are lactose intolerant, dairy products are not allowed, and they have a special menu which they can have every day. We have also had a child with celiac disease, and the parent decided to have the school meal once or twice a week, alternated with a packed lunch. But I think if you do want to get in touch and email us with any specific dietary requirements, we can certainly give you the contact details of our catering service, and you can liaise directly with them to find a suitable menu for your child.
Any other questions, ladies?
Our final question is, you are part of a trust. How does this benefit the school?
So I think for me, it provides the benefits of being a small school, but yet with the benefits that a larger school brings as well. And by that I mean unique context, our own unique values, and we all know each other really, really well. But at the same time, we're part of a wider family with 4 other primary schools who we can call upon for support, professional dialogue, advice, sharing ideas and working together. So we have the opportunity to share resources and professional skills and knowledge. And recently in school we had an RE day where our children have been working on designing some beautiful canvases based on something called the Big Freeze, which is going to be part of a display we've got in the hall. And we actually worked with another primary school to design that day, and we've since shared the outcomes of our different days in our different schools. So lots of opportunities to work together whilst we're still very much Holy Trinity and our own unique self, small school, big heart. Thank you. Is that our last question then now, ladies? Brilliant. So I'd just like to thank you all for taking your time on this cold winter evening to listen in again to our live stream. I hope you found it useful. I hope we've come across okay and not made too many mistakes. As we say, please do feel free to get in touch with us directly via the email or phone call to the office if there's anything further that we can help you with at all. I think just what's left to say for me is thank you to our wonderful Year 6 volunteers who've been absolutely amazing, and I think have put me quite to shame with their calmness and poise while they're sat there. Absolutely, wouldn't you agree?
I really do agree, yes.
And I'm sure you'll agree as well, anyone watching, how amazing these young ladies have been. So thanks again for listening and stay safe.
Thank you.